Have you ever found yourself taking things personally? It's something we've all struggled with at some point, whether it's a passing comment from a stranger, constructive criticism at work, or even a misunderstood remark from a loved one. Taking things personally can feel like second nature. After all, when someone says or does something that feels hurtful, it's easy to assume it's about us. Let's start with a fundamental truth. We are not the center of everyone's world. That might sound harsh, but it's actually freeing. Everyone is often so wrapped up in their own lives, just like us, thinking about their own challenges, insecurities, and priorities, that their words or actions are rarely a direct reflection of you. For example, imagine you're driving and someone cuts you off in traffic. It's tempting to take it personally, to think, how dare they disrespect me like that? But what if that person is rushing to the hospital? What if they're having a bad day or simply didn't see you? When you consider these possibilities, it becomes clear that their actions likely have nothing to do with you at all. This leads to first key principle. Don't assume intent. When we take things personally, it's often because we assign intent where there may be none. We create stories in our minds. They said that because they don't respect me, or they did that because they don't value me. But assumptions can be dangerous. They're based on our own insecurities rather than the actual situation. The next time you feel hurt by someone's words or actions, pause and ask yourself, what am I assuming about their intent? Do I have any evidence that supports this assumption? By challenging your assumptions, you give yourself the chance to see the situation from a more balanced perspective. 2. Separate fact from story. Let's talk about the difference between fact and story. The fact is what actually happened. The story is the interpretation you create around it. For example, fact: your colleague didn't respond to your email. Story: they're ignoring me because they don't respect my input. The fact and the story are not the same thing. The story comes from our internal narrative, which is shaped by our past experiences, insecurities, and fears. Whenever you find yourself feeling hurt, take a moment to separate fact from story. Ask yourself, what actually happened? What story am I telling myself about this situation? Is this story true, or am I projecting my own fears onto it? 3. Recognize what you can control. Taking things personally often stems from wanting to control how others perceive us. But here's the hard truth. You can't control what people think, say, or do. The only thing you can control is your reaction. When you accept this, you free yourself from the need for external validation. You stop trying to please everyone and start focusing on what truly matters to you. 4. Choose your battles. Not everything deserves your energy. Sometimes it's better to let things go rather than dwell on them. Ask yourself, is this worth my time and emotional energy? Will this matter in a week, a month, or a year? If the answer is no, let it go. Remember, not every comment, criticism, or situation requires a response. 5. Practice self-compassion. Another powerful strategy is to treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a friend. Often, when we take things personally, it's because we're overly critical of ourselves. For example, if someone criticizes your work, your inner dialogue might sound like, I'm not good enough, or I'm such a failure. But imagine if a friend were in your shoes. You'd likely tell them, you're doing your best, and one comment doesn't define your worth. When you practice self-compassion, you remind yourself that you're human, that it's okay to make mistakes, and that other people's opinions don't define your value. 6. Build emotional resilience. Another key to not taking things personally is building emotional resilience, the ability to manage your emotions in a healthy way. Emotional resilience doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means acknowledging them without letting them control you. Here are a few practical ways to build emotional resilience. First, practice mindfulness. When you're mindful, you're present in the moment. You're able to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment. For instance, if someone makes a critical comment, mindfulness allows you to notice your initial reaction, whether it's anger, sadness, or defensiveness, without immediately acting on it. Second, develop self-awareness. Know your triggers. What kinds of comments or situations are you most likely to take personally? When you understand your triggers, you can prepare yourself to respond calmly instead of reacting impulsively. Third, take care of yourself. When you're physically and mentally well, through regular exercise, good sleep, and healthy relationships, you're less likely to feel overwhelmed by negativity. 7. Shift the focus to empathy. Finally, one of the most powerful ways to stop taking things personally is to practice empathy. When someone says or does something hurtful, try to understand their perspective. Ask yourself, what might they be going through? Could this have more to do with them than with me? When you approach situations with empathy, you create space for understanding rather than judgment. When you stop taking things personally, you free yourself from unnecessary stress. You build healthier relationships both with others and with yourself. Most importantly, you reclaim your peace of mind. Remember, other people's opinions, actions, and words don't define you. You define you.